Everybody looking up at Dustin Connell, Zack Birge trying to throw his name into the hunt to win this one. It would be his first ever win on the Bass Pro Tour. Jacob Wheeler, third. Spencer Sheffield's in fourth, and rookie Drew Gill rounding out the top five on a beautiful day on Toledo Bend. Chad McKee, JT Kenny, and our MLF Now crew with you. And pleased to welcome Jonny Schultz of Deep Dive. He is one of our partners on the Bass Pro Tour, and Deep Dive is a new app that helps anglers, can help people break down these fisheries that we see all of our Bass Pro Tour and Major League Fishing anglers are. And Jonny, we welcome you to the show. Tell us a little bit more about Deep Dive and how you and the anglers have been able to put it to work this week at Toledo Bend.
For sure. Thank you guys for having me. And the Deep Dive app is a great tool, especially this week on Toledo Bend, because we can actually leverage the water clarity maps in the Deep Dive app to give an estimated water clarity across the lake. As you guys know, the water clarity across Toledo Bend has changed dramatically over the past week of competition, and keeping up to date with where the clear water is around the lake is key for a lot of anglers. A lot of anglers are using some of our top anglers from the first 5 days of competition concentrate in a small area of Toledo Bend still has some clear water in it. One thing that's really interesting, though, that we noticed this morning is that Dustin Connell is fishing in a little bit different section of the lake, a little bit further back in the creek, while Wheeler and Gill are targeting fish in their winter patterns that are sitting in 40 to 50 feet of water on the main lake. Connell moved a little bit further back into a creek. This creek still had clear water in it from the rains earlier in the week, but because of the rain yesterday, you can see all these runoff points that actually show up in the Deep Dive app. And by combining the water clarity map and those water inflow points from the Deep Dive app, we can see that this creek got some extra runoff in it. And you can see that Dustin was actually fishing a little bit shallower than a lot of the anglers today, maybe in that 20 to 25 foot zone. And I feel like a lot of the fish were actually moving into this creek because of all that runoff water that is bringing a little bit of nutrients into that clear water creek. And he's been able to take advantage of that while a lot of the other anglers are still fishing that main lake clear water.
Yeah, that's really interesting. And another thing that I saw too, and maybe you've seen on the app this morning, is that Zack Birge is actually a lot further up the lake than a lot of the other anglers are. And one of the things that I was noticing was that upper end of that lake, it was really dirty from the rain last week. And as that water has been pulled through the lake, that's actually starting to clear up there. And I don't know, with most of these guys, Zach's throwing a jerk bait, but he's also throwing a jig head plastic as well. Most of these guys throwing some sort of plastic on a jig head targeting these suspended fish. But I think that upper end of the lake, in practice and at the beginning of this event, it was a lot dirtier, but now that it's clearing up, maybe Zach's going to take advantage of that up there. Is that something that you can see on the app as well?
For sure, yeah. As the water continues to clear up, a lot of areas, like you mentioned, that have had less pressure throughout the week due to that poor visibility might become a bigger player. And watching Zach on the stream this morning, it was interesting to see him using a suspending jerkbait more than the Demiki style baits or the jig head minnows. And it may be because there's still some stain to that water, and that jerkbait gives off a little bit more vibration. But because of that stained water that was in that area earlier in the week, it probably received a lot less fishing pressure, especially from anglers who are utilizing forward-facing sonar. And it's probably giving him an advantage as well today, just fishing for fish that may have a little bit less pressure, and also using a bait that, while a lot of anglers probably were using, is maybe a little bit better in those more stained water conditions.
Jonny, we've heard the anglers talk so much this week, and they often talk about the changing conditions on a fishery and how the bass relate to that. With the Deep Dive app, how quickly available are accesses to the changing conditions, and how can a person who downloads the app get access to that information?
For sure. So the way that we generate our water clarity maps is actually taking real-time satellite imagery that we get daily. And so as long as there's a clear sky day over the lake, we're going to get a water clarity image, and then we're going to use our technology to actually generate that water clarity map that shows up all over the lake. The water clarity maps are available in the Deep Dive app. You can download at the Apple App Store and the Google Play Store, and we have a half a foot visibility accuracy. So you're going to be able to really dial in where the best water clarity is on your lake. We also have wind effect maps, which are actually probably going to be very impactful this afternoon. They'll show you how the wind is impacting your lake based on the accumulated wind over the distance of your body of water, the direction of the wind, and the topography of the land. We saw earlier that Jacob Wheeler was fishing in a more wind-blown area, despite the fact that the winds aren't that strong. And you can actually see that in the wind effects map in the Deep Dive app, while Dustin here is fishing in a lot more protected area because he's fishing a north-facing pocket, and those south winds are not impacting this area as much, which can also give an advantage, in addition to all of the inflow in this area, to help him stay on those fish with his forward-facing sonar.
Jonny, we appreciate it. Great information. Tell people once again the easiest way that they can access the information in the Deep Dive app. Just go into the App Store. That's the simplest way?
Easiest way, you can also just do a quick Google search for us, Deep Dive app, and you can find all the links there as well.
Helping you catch more fish just like it can these anglers on the Bass Pro Tour. And Jonny Schultz of Deep Dive, we appreciate you joining us.
Thank you, guys. Good luck to all the anglers out there.
Good information there, JT, and it makes sense when you hear him talking about water clarity in particular and why this area maybe has been a little better for Dustin Connell than some of the areas have been for other anglers.
Yeah, it is, and what that could really help, not only would it help pro anglers, but it could really help beginning anglers or amateur anglers as well that might not be as savvy at just knowing when things are going to clear up just from experience. This could basically give you 20 years of experience on a lake just by downloading an app. That's pretty cool.
Now, you got to know how to apply it. That's still a little bit of the skill that's involved with this. How do I take the information and put it to my best advantage? But these guys are the best in the world at dissecting things.